right, the show is still AM Express if you're just joining us, and it's coming your way from the network service of the NTA. Now, I have three lovely ladies in the house, and we will be talking about their initiative, the Sponsor a Child, or the Good Home Scheme. And seated closest to me is the Executive Director of Sponsor a Child, Tom Williams. Thank you, Tom, for coming on AM Express. Okay, and next to her is Torisheju Akarume. She is the proprietor of Rido's House, and she's also a caregiver. Thank you, Torisheju, for coming on AM Express.
Thank you very much, Dupe. I'm delighted
seated
to be here.
close to Torisheju is Josephine Emmanuel. She's also a caregiver. Thank you, Josephine, for coming on AM Express. All right, straight away. She's a child.
But she looks after her little one.
Oh, yes, she does look like an adult. All right, thank you all for coming on the show. Now, let's start with you, Tony. Tell us about the initiative, the Sponsor a Child initiative, and what inspired it?
10 years ago, how old was I? I'm 49 now, so how old was I 10 years ago? 39, 39. Thank you. I really wanted to do something useful, apart from my commercial activities with my company. And I visited a motherless babies home, and I saw how bored those children looked, how totally unstimulated they looked. And I started bringing them activity books. My son was the same age as many of them. And that's how I became so involved in education for children in their early years. So I started off with a passion for children in their early years, the same age as my little boy at the time. And so that's how Sponsor a Child actually was born. And I just escalated, my interventions escalated. And then I started sponsoring them into schools, just to keep them occupied, in their early years. And the age range expanded to take on secondary school children. And we broke our own policy once by putting a child in university. He was so brilliant. And we didn't want to let him go. We wanted to give him a chance to do mass communications. He's a brilliant English writer. So he's finished now. He's working for one of the most prestigious media agencies in the country. And so he's, really, we're very, very happy. I know, looking back, no regrets. No regrets. At all.
All right. Yeah. Now, tell us, I know that there are several times we hear people come up with all sorts of initiatives and schemes at NGO. So what's special about the Sponsor a Child? What
Well, first of all, we do what we say we're going to do, so we don't have a credibility issue. We're very focused. We're small, very small. And we focus, for the most part, up to now, 10 years, on orphanages, supporting orphanages, promoting child welfare in orphanages. Through sponsorship, I mentioned that. And then we started developing educational facilities in the orphanages, notably libraries and playgrounds, because education and recreation go together. And then we after 6 years in the field, I got to know many of the caregivers in various orphanages across the country. So we don't just work in Lagos quite well. And I discovered the challenges they had, and I discovered that I could intervene and help to close gaps in knowledge. So we started capacity building.
All right. Now, you had a seminar yesterday. I think it's still ongoing as I speak with you. Okay, and now, Torisheju Akarume, you were at the seminar yesterday. Tell me, what was your experience like at the seminar?
Thank you very much. My experience at the seminar was just simply wonderful. Initially, we received a notice for the seminar, and I wondered what it was going to be about, since it was free. I went there on Thursday out of curiosity, not because I wanted to see what was going to happen. And we talked basically about the child's right. The seminar actually opened my eyes, and I'm going to go back to my school and teach my caregivers things that we ought to do right. In fact, we're going to come up with our own policy, right? And draw up this policy to help the children, basically. We're going to change our methods of speaking to the children, how we discipline the children, how we relate to the children as concerning gender, and so many other things. At the end of the day, I believe we are going to be better as an institution, and we are going to bring out better children at the end of the day.
So the seminar, the experience for you was worthwhile?
Oh, the experience is wonderful. And I would attend any other seminar they have.
That's good to know. Now, Josephine Emmanuel, you were also there. Tell us about your experience. Was it the first time for you, and what did you benefit? What did you gain from the seminar?
Thank you very much, ma. I got to know a whole lot about my rights and how I shouldn't allow people to trample on my rights, and also not to trample on people's rights. I should learn to respect and when I respect, it will be given back to
Yeah.
me. I shouldn't discriminate. I shouldn't use bad words on people. I got to know a whole lot. It was an eye opener
for you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, Tom, this seminar is it going to be is it a one-off, or is it something you tend to do yearly? Or tell us about it. Is it going to be yearly, or is it just one-off that you had yesterday?
First of all, the seminar is a program. It's called the Good Home Quality Service Advocacy Scheme, Good Home Scheme for short. And what we're doing currently is a pilot, with the ultimate goal of rolling it out across the country. So the pilot is taking place in Lagos, and we've invited Ogun State, and we have a couple of Oyo State institutions attending, orphanages and early years centers, and Lagos State centers as well. The target was 35, and we hope that by September we will have up to 35 institutions participating. And so you want to know a bit more about it, you said. We teach them how to very specifically implement the rights in their care. Not just understanding them theoretically, how do we actually practically implement this in the care we provide? So we identify various aspects of childcare and reference the rights in these various aspects of childcare. Told you mentioned discipline, she mentioned spoken communication, for instance, and there are lots and lots of different areas where rights can be implemented effectively in an institution.
So what does it take to participate in the seminar?
Well, we have a network of orphanages already. We've been in this field for 10 years. So there are people, there are institutions. And so we reach out to them because, you know, their children are in extremely difficult circumstances. They're the most vulnerable children. So they are our target orphanages. And other orphanages that are getting registered, we get to know about them through the state government. So we add them to our database. So that's how we reach out to the orphanages. Early year centers are new. We're expanding into early years because they're very vulnerable children too. Children in the early years from the 0 to 8. Actually, the rights protect children who are unborn. The rights protect the unborn child.
Children. Yes, that's nice.
Yes, it's fantastic. Yes, it's really wonderful. So it starts there. So that's it really. So we are reaching out to ones in harder to reach areas. We, you know, widows as you in Agege.
Yes, I know Koba.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so we want to target those early year centers first. Because they're less likely to have this kind of intervention than the ones in Victoria Island and Ikoyi.
Now I'm happy you're in Agege and you talked about Okwawa, but how do you intend to reach other parts of Nigeria? I'm talking about Mina, I'm talking about Sokoto, I'm talking about Kogi and all the parts of Nigeria.
First of all, funding is the issue. The reason why we could give this for free, this has been rolled out for free, this pilot, is because it's been funded by the Embassy of France, very generously funded by the Embassy of France. The Embassy of France has a human rights fund. And it's a social development fund, and one of their priority areas is human rights. And what we're promoting through the Good Home Scheme, it's child rights-based childcare. So they loved it, they fell in love with it, and they really wanted to fund it. They were particularly excited about the fact that caregivers get to score their own performance. The tools, would you like to show them one of the tools, a Good Home Guide?
Oh, definitely.
Is structured in such a way that they can score their own performance. It's broken down into checklists, the different aspects of childcare, health, inclusion, gender sensitivity, academic effectiveness, participation, protection, and they can score their own performance every quarter. So you can see that you've improved by 5 points, 10 points in this quarter from last, and it motivates them. It incentivizes them.
It does.
So they were very excited about that, the French government. And we also teach them how to report on their evaluations, on their self-audits. And that was very exciting to the French as well. So they have a tool for giving to their directors, giving to state government if state government asks for it, a document.
All right, so Sheju, let's talk about some of these risk areas. You talked about communication and you talked about discipline. So how do you effect this in the lives of the children as a caregiver?
Yes, first and foremost, what I've resolved to do is getting back to school, I'll sit with my caregivers, I will draw up, let me call them rules and regulations. We're going to have them printed and displayed around the school environment. Spoken communication. We're going to say to ourselves that on no condition must abusive, derogatory words be used on the children. Rather, we should use the 5 magic words, which are thank you, excuse me, please, sorry. We should encourage the use of those words. It will make the children better people.
I agree.
It will make the children happier.
Even the parents.
It will also make the adults happier.
That's true. That's true. Now, finally, to you, Josephine, you have been with this sponsor in charge for how long?
For 10 years.
So tell us, you are a beneficiary?
Yes.
How did you benefit from them?
Okay. They took over my secondary school. Like, they paid my school fees all through my secondary school.
Wow.
I was paid for, like, sponsor a child.
Thank you, Tom. That's very kind of you, and I must encourage you and commend you for what you're doing. We appreciate you dearly, and I must also talk about these books. All of these books are for free. Free to all participants.
Yes.
That's
the scheme. The books are the scheme.
Yeah.
6 manuals, they are the scheme. They implement together, taken together, they implement the scheme, the Good Home scheme.
Wow. That's really good. Thank you for giving back, and thank you for what you're doing, and thank you most of all for coming on AM Express.
Thank you so much, Upenzo.
All right. The show is still AM Express. I was speaking earlier with Tom Williams and Torisheju Akarume, and of course, Josephine Emmanuel. I'm sure you found that interview